Hey everybody, Jay here. Good morning. It is 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm already in the truck. Got Lucky here. He's still sleeping. Lucky dog. And we're going to get some firewood. And I said to myself, I had the camera here. I was sitting here and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make a video on firewood. Should you start a firewood business? Getting into firewood as a side hustle. So that's what we're going to talk about today in this video. I'm going to break it up into multiple parts. I've already kind of thought about it. Hopefully you can hear me. I would hate to have to redo the audio. It is horribly raining out here. Finally, it's been hot here in New Hampshire. It's finally cooled off and we got some rain. So hopefully you can hear me well. The acoustics in the truck are usually pretty good. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into first part of firewood is equipment. This is in no particular order. The first part of firewood, in my opinion, well actually they're all very important. The first thing with firewood is equipment. What are you going to use for equipment? What do you have available? Is it one of those things where you already have maybe a skid steer, maybe you already have a tractor, maybe you already have something, maybe you have nothing? Again, this video is kind of for everybody, if you will, to get into firewood. Sorry, I was resetting up my maps there. What I use, and again, I'm not like a professional 1,000 cord a year person, but I have a 35 horse tractor. I have a brute force semi-pro wood splitter. I got a dump trailer, 7x14 Griffin dump trailer. And that's pretty much just the firewood side of it. Obviously you got all your saws and stuff, but that's, some people like this, some people like that, so you can buy what you want for a saw, but buy the biggest saw you can afford. But that's the thing with firewood. Firewood, even smaller trees are heavy. How are you moving these rounds around? Are you stacking them? Where are you storing the logs? We're gonna get into that in a second, but the first part of this is equipment. What are you running for equipment? In my opinion, you at least need a 40 horse tractor with a grapple. That's what I have, and I probably wouldn't go any smaller. Now, one of those mini skids, those things are pretty slick. I've seen those move some big logs. If you have one of those conveniently, use that. But you definitely, it helps having some form of machinery to move firewood, and we'll circle back to that towards in another section here. But that's the first thing, equipment. You're gonna need a dump trailer. You're gonna need some form of it. If you don't have a dump trailer, you at least need like a 3500, or if you're a Ford guy, 550, 450, whatever the Fords are. Something, utility dump body there, like one of those landscaping trucks, the dualies. You need something that can hold a cord of wood. An 8-foot pickup truck, even if you stacked it in there, can barely hold a cord. So I've already went over that in another video. So you're gonna need something of that nature. That's the first part. The next part is logs. Where are you buying, where are you getting your firewood from? Where are you getting your logs from? I mean, if you have a 1,000-acre property, you've probably got enough for, for so many cords a year, but we live on 18 acres of land. We have 20 next to us, and there's like 30 in the other corner. I don't harvest any of that wood to sell. All the firewood I do comes from tree jobs, if you will. So that's another cost you have to factor. Up here in New Hampshire, you can get a grapple load of logs for about, I think it's about $800 to $1,000, and that's supposed to be anywhere from, some guys say 6 to 8, some guys say 8 to 10. So I guess call it, you're looking at probably $100 a cord to buy logs here in New Hampshire. So again, we'll get into that later, but $100 a cord to cost for material, if you're only selling cordwood at $300 a cord, 1/3 of that money goes into actually getting the product. So another option you can do is reach out to tree companies. However, I can attest, I'm not related, but I am in contact with 4 different tree companies. 2 of them use the logs for firewood. The other 2 want nothing to do with it. Now, who am I most likely to get logs from? The 2 companies that want nothing to do with it. They're smaller scale guys, like what I do, and they don't have a yard to store it. So it's mine for the taking. You guys have seen the dozens of trailer loads I've gotten from them. But you got to be available. When he calls me, you got to answer, type of thing. So that's another part of it. But sourcing your logs, that's another important part. Where are you getting your firewood from? Generally speaking, you know, we live in the Northeast, live in New Hampshire. The Northeast is very heavily wooded. It's the most heavily wooded area in the whole United States. So there's a lot of wood up here. So that solves my problem, but that's something you got to consider, you know, is what is your firewood availability? Do you have tree services near you, loggers near you? How are you getting this material? Are you going to go get it yourself from tree jobs? That's what I do. So yeah, that's a factor. That's another part of it. The next thing, very, very important, is your time. This should probably be number one. Your time is very valuable. You have to look at, and I didn't really care for this before until you really broke down the math. You need to look at how much time it takes you to get the wood, bring the wood home, cut it, split it. Now, either split it into IBC cages like I do now, split it into a massive pile, split it right into a truck, you know, whatever, split it and stack it. You have to look at your time. You have to look, see firewood, I enjoy it. It's a hobby for almost probably everybody watching this video. So we don't really consider that wasting time. But seriously though, if you can go make $40 and $50 an hour being an electrician, and you're making $10 an hour doing firewood, and it takes you 5 times the amount of time to make the same amount of money, you know, you got to consider that time is money. That old saying goes. You need to value your time, and I appreciate your time watching this video. But that is huge for me. Like, I have 2 young kids, the 3rd one on the way. I don't have a lot of time, if you will. I don't have Monday through Sunday, you know, sun up to sundown to screw around with firewood. I don't. So you got to make it count when I have the time. That's how I look at it. So time and speed, you know, how quickly, the second part of time is how quickly are you producing firewood. I ran a counting line, and that's bare bones, slow as dirt. Nothing wrong with the machine. That thing took a beating for 7 years. But I ran a counting line, wood splitter, 24 ton for 7 years now. Now, once I got that brute force semi-pro, that changed everything. Again, that's equipment makes the difference. But your time and speed, how quickly you can produce the wood, that's a factor. So that's another part of it. All right, so the next factor is, I actually stopped and made a list, is storage. Storage of firewood. Hopefully you guys can still see me. It's kind of dark. Maybe I'll get some highlights of the homestead so you can, instead of staring at me. Storage. Oh man, this is something I'm still figuring out after all these years. How are you storing firewood? If you sell 2-3 cords a year, you know, make $1,000 on the side, you can fit that anywhere. You can fit 3 cords anywhere. However, if you're trying to make more significant money, you are going to need space. How are you storing this wood? Are you storing it in a big giant pile? I got news for you. Big giant piles of firewood do not season. There's not enough air circulation in there. The outer stuff will season, but the inner stuff will not. You will give people mixed bag if you scoop from that, and they will be pissed. Ask me how I know. I've done it. IBC totes. Those are great. Everybody keeping up with the Joneses on that one. I use it too. Everybody does it. Matt from Trees to Firewood, he uses totes. Everybody uses those cages. They're great. However, you need at least a 40-horse tractor to pick that up. And then you need space. You could fit, you know, you could stack them 2 high, 1, 2, and they don't take up a lot of space. But go look at Matt from Trees to Firewood. Look at his yard. He has totes you can see from the satellite. He's got so many of those things. So that's another factor. Where are you storing this wood? That's a very important factor. Whether you're storing it in a big pile and then scooping it, selling it green, or if you're storing it in the IBC cages, letting it season. And yeah, that's a big part of it. Oh, look at some sun. All right, that takes care of that. Next part is delivery. How are you getting the wood to your customers? I got news for you. If you're gonna advertise as customer pickup, that is a horrible way to do business. Customers want, every inquiry I've ever gotten of firewood, customers want it delivered. They want it just dropped and they want to stack it. They don't want to come get it. They don't have the means to come get it. They want you to dump it in their front yard, side yard, wherever it is, and they'll spend a day, they'll spend a couple hours stacking it. That's it. You need to figure out a means of delivery and charge accordingly. I go about 20 minutes free. After that, I go about $40. I sell a great product. A lot of people can swear by it, attest to it. I sell a really clean product. We burn all the junk in our furnace. You guys know that. So if you really don't want to spend the extra $40 for me to come out and deliver wood, then I don't want that business, because as a buyer, you have to value the firewood guy's time too. Don't waste his time. Don't lowball him and expect him to drive an hour to deliver firewood. There's a lot of effort that goes into firewood, and that's a video in itself. So that's the next thing, is delivery. Again, are you rocking a dump trailer? You need to at least be able to deliver a cord at a time. Anything less than that, I mean, it's doable. If you had a dump, one of those dump bodies on your truck, like an 8-foot dump insert, you could probably do a face cord. Just depends, again, depends on your time, but I think you should be, at minimum, able to haul a cord at a time, if not more. The next thing is space. Oh man, let me tell you, if you want to get into firewood, you need a wood yard. You need space. Wow, I cannot stress that enough. I don't know how much space you need, but you need a lot of room. I am constantly reshuffling my wood yard. I'm changing it up again. That's coming up in the next video or two. You need space to work. You need space to get trucks in there. You need space to get equipment in there. You need space to stack logs. I mean, look at these wood processors. Some of these things are 40 feet long. Like Matt's thing, that thing's huge. IBC totes, like I said, they take up a ton of space. You need a wood yard. You need space to do firewood. Again, the bigger you are, the more room you're gonna need. The biggest operations I've seen have huge wood yards, you know? Again, if you're limited to your small backyard, you just gotta be, it's not about having 30 acres, it's just about being efficient with your space that you do have. And that's coming from me, and I'm not a very efficient person, so. You're definitely gonna need some form of a wood yard. You need some space to move logs around, to get conveyors in there, eventually to get big splitters in there, trucks, you name it. You're gonna need space, and that space needs to be set up efficiently. So that is another factor in a firewood business. The next thing is waste. You're gonna have waste. You're going to have those butt logs, those crotch logs. You're gonna have, I just went to do a job here and I was like, oh, these two maples are gonna be beautiful firewood. Well, one of them is, the middle is inside completely rotted. Now what? I'm on the hook to haul it home. That's where we're going right now. So you gotta deal with that. What are you going to do with all your waste? Your cutoffs at the end, you know, if you have a, let's say 16, 16, 32, 48, let's say you have a 54-inch log, what are you doing with that 6-inch cutoff at the end? You can't sell that and split that for firewood. For some reason, even if you split it and threw it in the pile, homeowners get pissed for some reason when there's small pieces in there. They think they're getting screwed. So me, I have an outdoor wood furnace. I burn all the slash, all the cutoffs, all the junk, all the rot, just toss it in, don't care. That solves my issue. You will have waste. No question. I don't care how efficient you are with how you buck up logs, you will have waste. You will have slash from the splitter. You will have oddball pieces that it's not worth your time to make firewood out of. I've dumped dozens of trailer loads of logs back at the wood recycling yard where they turn it into mulch because it's just not worth my time to process it. Get the splitter stock, to get 8 pieces of wood out of it, I'd rather burn it myself or just bring it back and have it recycled. Again, that goes back to time and space. Do I want my wood yard full of junk wood that I'll maybe get to? No, just get it out of here. If I'm not going to use it, I'm familiar with how the machine works and my capabilities. I could take one look at it and say, nope, not going to use that, toss it. So you're going to have waste, you're going to have slash. You got to figure out what to do with that slash. Where are you going to dispose of it? Are you just going to burn it? find somebody with an outdoor wood furnace, go drop it off to them, make that connection. So you will have waste to deal with, and the waste adds up quickly. You've seen after I do a cord, I got a fair amount of waste. Now granted, I just rake it up and burn it in the furnace, but if you don't have that option, it's gonna add up quickly. Next thing that I think is very important is calculate how much wood you are selling. Do not shortchange people. They will call you the minute they stack the wood and they think they're short. You will hear about it. For some reason, I've done complete tree jobs and left a thing or two, or maybe some high stumps. Nobody cares. You shortchange somebody on firewood, they will haunt you. They will be very upset, and I don't blame them. They're paying for a product. They're familiar with what they have. Now, again, this is one of those things where it's like, if you deliver wood, you dump it in somebody's driveway, and you leave, and they text you the next 2 days later, they say, hey, I got around to stacking it, seems short. How are you supposed to know if they didn't hide pieces in their basement, or you know, Uncle Joe showed up with his truck and threw in a truckload, and then they say you were short? You got to give some people the benefit of the doubt, but some people, there's evil in the world, unfortunately. So what I do, and this is where I calculate, I explain people, this has saved my butt. That dump trailer I have, when I put that insert in, that's about 200 cubic feet of loose wood in there. And I sell clean, straight, nice wood that stacks nice. So you're gonna get a very dense, very condensed pile. It may not be 4 feet tall. I always say to people, it may not be 4 by 4 by 8, but it is dense. It's like Jenga. It's like building blocks in there. It's like stacking cubes, rectangular cubes. There's not a lot of airspace. Those twisted, gnarly pieces with the crotches, or you know, like whatever, that takes up airspace, and that's the difference between a visual full cord and not, is how much air is in that stack. So that's another thing too. You could have 2 guys stack the same pile of wood, and I guarantee you could have two different results. So anyways, the main point of this section is to calculate, give people what they're buying. If you use IBC totes, 3 stacked IBC totes, you're still short a cord. That's what I've discovered. You still need a little bit. Matt from Trees to Firewood, he does like a little meniscus on the top, or he throws in some extra. In this business, I'd rather give a little bit. I'd rather give 110% load versus a 90% load. So again, I don't, after 10 loads, you're missing out on a cord. So you want to be pretty exact and pretty precise. And I have it down pretty good with that insert in the trailer there. I'm usually just at 4 by 4 by 8, if not more. Again, depends on how you stack it and who stacks it. So if I stack the cord or my 6-year-old stacked the cord, I guarantee you my cord would be a little more condensed than his. So that's another thing, is calculate, make sure you're giving people what they need, what they're ordering. If they're ordering a face cord, give them a face cord. If they're ordering a cord, make sure they get a cord. Do not wing it, do not estimate it. Make sure that you're giving people what they need. Is your market. Know your market. What are you trying to sell? Are you trying to sell camp wood, bundles? I'm trying to get into that a little bit. I've thought about it. I might dabble in it. That might be coming up. Are you doing seasoned wood? Are you doing green wood? See me, I want to do the 40 by 40 concrete pad, blow all the wood out I get into that giant concrete pad and sell it green. I'd rather sell all my firewood in March for the following season. Let people stack it up themselves and season it themselves. Green wood in my particular case is easier. Now, I'd love a kiln, that's on the list, but that might not happen right away. So know your market. Are you selling green wood? Are you selling seasoned wood? It depends. That's what you got to decide, what you want to do. Green wood, you're going to sell it for cheaper. In New Hampshire, I can sell green wood for $2.80 a cord delivered. Again, depending how far you are. And then the seasoned wood, I've been getting $3.50 for. So 5, 6, 7, the $70 difference. $70 times 10 cords, that's $700. That adds up. However, the green wood sometimes is just easier. bring the wood home, split it right into the trailer. You guys have been following along and see me do that. So that's another thing. What market are you going to get into? The seasoned wood, you're going to have to store it, you're going to have to dry it. You know, you'll make $70, $80, $100 more a cord, but you're going to be hanging on to that wood longer. So it just depends. So that takes care of that one. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed. I had an hour ride. It was nice to talk to you guys. There's definitely a lot that goes into starting a firewood business. Again, there's so many different factors. I could have missed some things. I covered what I think is a lot of, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I covered 10 different subjects. So I think that's fair. So anyways, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I think firewood overall, it's a great hobby. It's a great side hustle. It's a great way to meet people. Every time I meet somebody who I deliver firewood to, I always say, hi, nice to meet you. You know, what do you do for work? I've actually called a few customers for different work. I found an electrician. I have a plumber now. I found a welder. I actually found a marketing guy who's been doing some marketing for me for business. So don't be afraid to ask people, say, hey, what do you do for work? It's always good to, oh, I know a guy, or I know a guy, or I know a guy. How many times have you heard that? I want to be people's, oh, I know a guy who does tree work. Oh, I know a guy who does firewood. That's the guy I want to be. So the more you communicate, the more you network, the more you talk to your customers. And again, if you deliver a good, clean, consistent product, they'll recommend you, and they say, oh yeah, this guy I sell. I've gotten a bunch of calls from people that say, oh yeah, you delivered firewood to my brother's cousin's sister or whatever, and it's like that word travels. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. God bless. Let me know what you think. Hope you guys enjoy. Hope you can hear. I know it's raining out, but that's just my gist on starting a firewood business. There's a lot of good things I covered in there. There's a lot of good things that I think I wish I would have watched this video before I started out, because I would have changed a few things. So hopefully it helps. Let me know. My email is at the end of the video. If you want to send me an email, if it's easier, shoot me a comment, whatever it is. I'll gladly help you guys out. Appreciate you. Thanks for watching. God bless. Like I always say, we'll see you guys out in the woods.